Hello, friends, and welcome to the space where we discuss business, landscaping, beer, and everything in between. I'm your host, Heather Gerard from My Landscape Artist here in London, Ontario, Canada. And this is Season 2 of Hops and Hedges. Stay tuned after each episode for a message from our sponsor, ext.tech. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now crack open a cold one, and let's dig in. And we are on the show. With me today is Weston Zimmerman, all the way from Pennsylvania. You are the CEO and founder of SynkedUP. So Weston, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Heather. I'm looking forward to just a good conversation and,
Awesome. I love just shooting it. I'm loving your mug. Did you make it?
No, my uncle makes these.
Okay.
He started a pottery shop a few years ago, and he does the whole like hand-thrown pottery thing, and so he even carves our SynkedUP logo into it.
Oh, that's so cool. Very cool. See, my name, My Landscape Artist, would be a really long name to put in pottery. It would have to be more like a pitcher or maybe just a massive beer stein instead of a teacup. So it's funny, actually, on the pre-questionnaire, I always ask people what beer they like, and you said coffee. And I always like coffee too. And here we are, we're both drinking tea today.
Exactly. Well, somebody challenged me that I
Me
can't
too.
go to coffee, so I was like, okay, watch me.
Yeah, that's
So
so funny. So I don't know.
I just need a hot mug. That's all I need.
Yeah, and that was me today. It is cold, and I
Yeah.
am not a winter person at all. So anyway, so you've been with SynkedUP for 4 years, but 15 plus more years in the landscaping industry and profession. So for those of us who are tuning in and aren't familiar with you or SynkedUP, can you give us a little lowdown as to what SynkedUP is?
Yeah, so SynkedUP is an app and an estimating software. So it's an app and a software, like whether you're on a phone or on a computer in a browser. But it's made for estimating and job costing. It's designed for contractors. So
Yeah.
essentially, it's like the $1 million question for most any owner, operator, contractor in businesses. Well, how much should I charge for this? I've got my insurance, I got my trucks, I have my marketing, I have all these expenses. Like, how much do I need to charge for my labor? How much do I need to mark up my materials? And SynkedUP is an app that automates all of that through a bunch of inputs. Like you just tell the software, the expenses and the equipment that your business has, and it will automatically calculate your overhead recovery and profit right into your pricing without you even really running a calculator, so to speak. So, and then on the flip side, after you schedule the job, track time on the job, track expenses on the job, it will show you in real time job costing or like estimated versus actual labor and
Right.
materials. So you can know where you went wrong and where you went right because there's two ways, as you know, because you were in my
I
session.
was, yeah.
Yeah, because there's two ways that you can screw up profit in the pricing of your estimate, and that is you have incorrect quantities of resources, like maybe you don't have enough of labor or enough of material or something in the bid, or you could just be charging the wrong rates on those resources. Like you might not be charging the correct rate for your hourly rate, or you might not be charging the right markups. You pay $10 for a material item. What do you charge for it?
Hmm.
So rates and resources is essentially the problems that SynkedUP solve for contractors. And the idea is then contractors can go back and do what they love to do anyways, do the work and spend less time in the office and crank out estimates faster.
Yeah, and you were speaking my language in that presentation. So you did this presentation at Landscape Ontario Congress recently, doing the two profit killers for contractors. And right away, what really intrigued me about what you were talking about is the fact that we as contractors usually don't get into business because we love, crunching the numbers.
That's right.
We don't get into it because we love, building these estimates and building these kits and figuring out profit margins and sitting in a cubicle or in your studio, figuring this stuff out. So as soon as you said, you input the stuff once-ish, right? Like, of course, things change and you change the
Yeah,
input.
so insurance goes up, so you go in and fiddle with the number again, but
Yeah.
that's it.
But automating the things and the systems that we don't enjoy doing so we can focus on what we love doing. So I'm certainly intrigued. I personally haven't tried. I think you sent a budgeting tool thing maybe but I somehow can't find it. So I might get you to resend
Yeah,
that to
no,
me
I'll
after the
resend it.
thing.
I tell you what,
Um,
For
So
whatever it's worth, I can send you a link that you can include in the show notes too. Like we have this quick and dirty little, it's fun to mess with. It's this quick and dirty little hourly rate calculator.
yep.
Like picture like a car payment calculator or a home mortgage payment calculator. It's kind of like that, like where you just plug in, how many hours you work in a year, what your labor cost is, what your overhead cost is, and what you want to make a net profit. And it just kind of spits out like the number. And of course, we're making big assumptions when you just type in that your labor cost is 300,000 a year. Like, okay, how did you get to that 300,000? But
Right.
regardless, it's a quick and dirty little calculator that you and all your listeners can have. I'll just shoot you the link to it.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, we'll put it in the description. And then I'm very slowly also bringing and copying over the podcast onto my website. So whether the description is right on Spotify or the description on social media or my website, we'll include the link. So
Sure.
absolutely. One of the things that I always love asking guests on the show is if there's been a mentor along the way, because I know that and every time I have somebody on the show, we can't ignore the fact that we didn't get here alone.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Like we all have someone who either encouraged us to start the business or who gave us a shot as a grass cutter early on in the early days to be like, okay, you are green. Like you've never pulled a quick start pull cord on a lawnmower before. So we are going to start you from scratch, right? Like we all started somewhere. So before we get into your mentor, because I definitely want to talk about that, how did you get into landscaping in the first place? Like, so right now you're software, but you were a foreman for a number of years. So how
Yeah.
did you fall into this crazy profession we find ourselves in?
What really I mean, the thread is we lived on a pretty large property. I grew up on like a 15-acre property. My mom had a big garden and we had tons of mulching to do and I loved to mow the grass. So
Yep.
I loved working outdoors. I loved making things look pretty. I loved the creative aspect of, landscaping and outdoor design. So that was kind of like as a child, right? And I was working for my uncle at a kitchen cabinet woodworking shop, and I'd worked there for like 3 years in my last couple years of school, and I hated working indoors in that finishing room. And I love the craft of it. Like the craft of woodworking was
Yeah.
fun. What was not fun was all the spraying of the varnishes and all of that. Like, oh, I hated that. So anyway, I ran into Matt Martin, which is one of the owners of Tussey Landscaping here in central Pennsylvania. And it just kind of went off as a light bulb. Hey, I love working outside like that all the time anyway at home. So like I'm just gonna call him and see if he has a job. And this, mind you, this was before I had a driver's license, anything, right? So I called him. Sure enough, his first question was, "How are you gonna get here?" And I was like, "Well, I'll bike." And so that's what I did. I biked there for 2 years. It was
Yep.
12 miles, by the way. But I wanted to get out. I wanted to do something more creative, outdoors, and here I am back again indoors running a
Yeah.
software company. But anyway,
Oh, it's so funny how some things just come full circle, doesn't it? It's like, wait a
yeah,
second. How
yeah,
did this happen?
yeah.
So,
But that's how I got
um,
into it.
yeah, and I know that one of the thing that I'm leading to is a mentor of yours from Aquascape and
Oh,
winning that award. Can you talk a little bit about that?
yeah. So okay, I'll go back to my childhood again to start that story. So when I was 6, my mom and I built a waterfall in our backyard, and I had so much fun doing it.
When you were
Then we,
6.
I was 6, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it starts young people. It start them, train them and start them young. Get those kids in the garden.
I can still remember burying the pipe, positioning the rock. I remember it like
Wow.
really well. But then we moved and we built another one. And so I really liked this. And I had an uncle that had a garden center. And so he was kind of dabbling in water features as well. So I was kind of fascinated with it. Um, but then when I started working for Tussey Landscaping also did water features. And I quickly kind of like gravitated to the water feature jobs. And pretty soon
Hmm.
I was like given all the water feature jobs. And I really started enjoying that craft. And the owners, Steve and Matt Martin from Tussey Landscaping, sent us to Aquascape's annual event in Chicago. I was there, I think, every year except for one, since 2009. So it's a fantastic event. If you're just a contractor in the green industry and would like to if you're just curious about water features, you should go. And it's a great, like, I would call it a great, like, professional development, high-end speakers, networking
Nice.
type event, alongside all the practical trainings about water features. But anyway, what at that event every year they gave away an award called Artist of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave away a bunch of different awards. Some of them were like Top Frog, but those were usually based on how much you bought, different things like that. But the Artist of the Year felt pure to me because you couldn't buy your way into it,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And it was also kind of like peer selected. So the Aquascape team selected the first couple artists of the year, and then the past as more and more won every year, the past artists of the year would vote in like who they thought should win the next year's. So it was
Huh.
also kind of recognition by your peers. So it was a very it meant more in my eyes anyway. It meant more than the other awards did. So
Yeah.
anyway, I remember that award being given out. I think the year that John Adams won it, and then again the next year Jack Harju won it. And I'm like, I'm gonna get that thing, or at least that was my goal. And it took. We won it in 2017, finally.
Nice.
But I say finally, but I also kind of if someone's listening to this and then they would also like to win an award like that, I'd say like I will mention like you got to put in the time. Like what's that proverbial thing of it takes 10,000 hours to master something, and that
Yeah.
is totally true. And there is definitely like the artist of the year thing was very much it was a true artist's award. Like it was like there's people that have built water features for 20 years that won't win the artist of the year. It's just like you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
and what's funny about that is this year's winner of artist of the year has only been doing it for 5 years. It's like a new
Wow.
record. Like but I will say I know those two gentlemen personally, and they put in the time. They put in more than the 10,000 hours. Like
Yeah.
they would travel and go work with artists of the year. They came here to Tussie Landscaping and worked for a week for free just for the opportunity to get onto a job site and see how these water features go together.
Yeah.
That's how badly they wanted it. So anyway, that award meant a lot to me. And when we won it in 2017, it was just like it's probably my favorite highlight over my landscaping, career. And that
Yeah.
has led to a lot of different opportunities because Aquascape they do like things like invite only events to the artist of the year, such as artist we built a big water feature for Shaquille O'Neal at his home in Georgia. We did another big water feature for Logan Paul, a YouTube guy. I don't know if you know that or not, but that one was not invite only, by the way. But yeah, so it has afforded me tons of fantastic opportunities that have just kind of colored in my, some great experiences in my career.
Yeah, it's so rewarding when you kind of knock off one of those bucket list item things. There's something that you kind of dream about or wonder about or aspire to do or to be or to achieve early on. And then when you check that thing off,
Yeah.
it's so funny because actually for me personally, when I started studying landscape design at Fanshawe College in 2013, so 2014 would have been my first LO Congress. And when I saw people like yourself up there talking to their peers and teaching and inspiring and educating, and in 2014, I said, one day I'm going to speak at LO Congress. And I just did that this year.
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's such a small thing, but it's something that I really wanted. Like as a brand new student who had zero experience in the landscaping industry whatsoever, besides
Yeah.
hobby gardening.
Yeah.
But I have what's the word? Drank the Kool-Aid. I'm very very much very much into landscaping, and I'm here to stay. So
That's awesome.
uh, so talking about aquascape again, you mentioned a mentor for you, Greg Whitstock.
Yeah.
Can you talk about him and how's he inspired you and brought you along the way?
Well, Greg is the CEO and founder of Aquascape. So as I was getting to know the Aquascape crowd out there at their events, I got to know Greg. He came out to visit us at Testing Landscaping, and my story essentially was, we live here in what I would call rural Pennsylvania. Like we're 2 hours from your closest major airport, and so it was like I was working as a teenager and then a young, 20s type landscape crew worker. and there's a certain wage it goes with that. And I got married and I wanted to buy a home and I wanted to grow and I wanted to get ahead financially and all of that stuff. But
Yeah.
the only way I was able to articulate that in my mind was I want to make more money. The standard employee mindset, right?
Right.
Well, and of course, if I go to, I went to my boss and I want to make more money in that conversation. Well, hey, if you do these things, you get a raise. Like it wasn't a great vibe. And so, and I also was kind of wondering, like, man, I don't know if I can even make what I need to make here. Like, what else should I do? And so I cornered Greg at a pandemonium event and I asked him, hey, are you guys hiring? Because I figured I could have more opportunities for growth there at Aquascape. And he was like, he looked at me like I had three heads and was like, what is wrong with you? Like,
Yeah.
why, like, you work for one of my best customers, Tussie Landscaping.
Yeah.
Why would you want to come work for Aquascape? And I said, well, I kind of like blurted out, like, I just want to make more money. And he's like, you could tell, like, oh, like he had seen
Oh,
this.
yeah.
He
Okay.
had seen this 1,000 times before. And he said, okay, this whole conversation took like 90 seconds, by the way, but it changed everything for me.
Right.
Um, and he said, you go back to Steve, the owner, and you ask him, how can I make the company more money so that I can make more money?
Right.
And that was it. It was like, oh, okay, it was kind of over. But it was just like I did that, and it changed everything. Like well, and when I say it changed everything, what happened was a light bulb moment in my own mindset, and
Yeah.
I was like, it was just like peeling off the scales on my eyes. Like I was like, oh, okay, I get it, duh. And so I attacked life, so to speak, on how to create value. And that's what led me into doing all the marketing work at Tesla Landscaping. I started the YouTube channel. Actually, I didn't start it. We just started posting on it regularly. I did the website. I was basically director of marketing and running a crew at the same time. I was basically working two full-time jobs at the same time at Tesla. Um, and so that kind of got my brain, much more. So I started being included in more like the leadership meetings, and I got my brain much more like I was thinking much more like an entrepreneur, like a business owner, as an
Hmm.
employee. Like I was an entrepreneur, let's say.
Yeah.
Um, and so now my brain was in that gear, running down that path, and we were in problem solving mode, and we had these problems ourselves around what I was talking about SynkedUP with not knowing what to charge, like what our rates should be, and we were running spreadsheets, and we had one software product that did really well at establishing our rates and estimating, but then it didn't do well at
Hmm.
all out in the field. We had another product that the field guys really liked, but it didn't connect. It wasn't connected with the original estimating system. So we were just in a world where we were using 4 or 5 different apps just to try to get a job from start to close.
Right.
And so what happened there was my dad had a telecommunications company. He sold it and he went to work for them, and they happened to have a software development division. And one day in the middle of this, like, hey, we're trying to be in problem solving, like what can we do to be more efficient? How can we streamline this? I came home from work one day and my dad was working on the back patio on his laptop, clicking around on some graphs, and I was curious and I leaned in and asked him what he was doing. He showed me he was testing a software project. And I was like, you mean you can just define what it is that you want and go build it? And very
Right.
naive, by the way, but he was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I went back to Steve and Matt and was like, hey, like, let's build this. Like, it doesn't, what we wanted didn't exist. Like, estimating job costing all under one roof
Yeah.
did not exist. And so, really long story short, I won't bore you with all the details, but we started build like the owners of the, I didn't have any money. I was an employee. Like, so the owners of the company were like, sure, let's do it. And we started building the software. I would just say for anyone listening, Uh,
Your
it was
face
probably
says
the
it
most,
all. If for
uh,
anybody who's listening and not watching,
it
just
was probably
know.
the,
Yeah.
I would be very careful. Like I'm making it sound like it was just like a, fairy tale, but it is so difficult to build software. Like it was the most naive venture that we ever set out on, and we didn't know it. And
Right.
today I'm standing here saying it is nothing but a sheer miracle that we are here today in the way that we are. And I could talk for 3 hours about all the things that should have sunk us but didn't.
Yeah.
So
Shoulda,
anyway,
woulda, coulda.
yeah,
But
exactly.
on the other flip side of that, it's not just a sheer miracle. Like I've only known you very briefly and I've heard you speak only once, but I can already tell that you have determination and you have resiliency. And those two things, nobody's going to knock people like us down,
Yeah. It's
you
like,
know?
oh, well, give me a bulldozer.
Yeah. Oh, I can't afford the bulldozer. I will find someone who has one and I will make them my
Exactly.
friend. Like, stand out of the way because I'm coming.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and you're right. Like it's just the amount of sheer exhaustion and work that goes into actually building a product like that is incredible. Like it's an all-consuming project,
Yeah.
which is exactly why I eventually had to phase out of Tussie Landscaping and now I run SynkedUP full time.
Yeah.
Um, and I would just say, like, for context, like if you have a company that's doing, 20, 30, $100 million in revenue, yeah, it makes sense. You hire your own in-house team and maybe you might build your own product for some reason. But in most cases, it sounds glamorous to say, let's go build our own product. But the reality is it's going to be way harder to build your own product and way more expensive and you'll probably fail than it is to just say, go find the closest thing to what you need off the shelf and
Yeah.
figure out workarounds for it. Those workarounds are a lot cheaper, and you can go back to focusing on growing your business instead of
Right.
because we're literally what we were doing was we were starting a business from within a business.
Yep.
This is, but one thing I wanted to draw a link together on the aquascape and the mentorship from Greg Whitstock was that exposure that I had to the industry through the aquascape events gave me I started seeing other companies and how they operated. And when we were trying to solve this problem inside of Tyson Landscaping, and we said, hey, let's build a software product, like the owner's, I think, goal was to solve the problem for themselves. But I was starting to think, like, you know what? This is not a problem unique to us. Like, this is an industry problem. And I started
Hmm.
developing this vision of like taking this to the market. And, hence here we are 5 years. Well, actually, from that moment, that's more like 8 years ago now.
Right.
8 years later, and here we are, serving contractors all over North America. So yeah, it's amazing how those little seemingly insignificant encounters have tremendous effects further in your life and your career.
Oh, yeah. And even sometimes in the moment, those moments sting a little.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes depending what the information you're being told or what you're being given, it does completely change the trajectory of your life. And in the moment, that really sucks. Sometimes it's a tough pill to swallow, but then later on, you look back and you're like, wow, just that one conversation completely changed everything.
I'm not kidding. It was a 90-second encounter in the corner of the aquascape third floor up there. Like
Yeah.
seemingly insignificant, but it changed everything.
Oh, man. Yeah, I've had a few of those encounters myself. I try to pay it forward. I like to what's the question? Because I asked, it was in a conversation 2 years ago at Congress with Daniel from Dancore Landscapes. And I just, one of the speakers at the peer to peer event had mentioned or had asked the room, um, what would you, if you knew that you couldn't fail, if you knew that you would succeed, what would you try? And immediately, I was like, well, I would start a podcast. Like, I've been wanting to do it for years. Like, how cool would that be? And this guy beside me, Daniel, bless him, he's like, well, what's stopping you? I was like, oh, I don't know how to do a podcast. He's like, YouTube.
She's right.
Yeah. And that was January 2024. And he's like, well, number one, I dare you. Number two, you can't really fail. It's a podcast. Just do the damn
Yeah.
thing. And
Yeah.
I'm going to call you May 1st and I want to hear your first episode. Like he called me on my BS, like right there on that spot. Met him for the first time. He's a good friend now. So he's certainly held me accountable, right? But that one question, it's something that sticks with me almost every day. If if you want to try and do something, what's holding you back? What's the worst that could happen? It's probably not as bad as you think it is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's such a it is easier to continue doing what we've always done, even if that thing is miserable, broken, we don't like it, we
It's
wish it were different.
familiar.
Yeah, it's familiar. It's familiar.
Familiar is comfortable.
Exactly.
Darn that comfortability. Man, man. but my bed is so comfy, but you're not going to accomplish anything if you stay in bed. So,
Right.
um, what else do I want to talk to you about? So many different things. One of the things that another thing I just love hearing what people say, because there's lots of people out there who are maybe thinking about starting a business or thinking about creating a piece of software. I think we've got your feedback on what that means. If anybody's thinking about
Yeah.
doing that, know that you're in it for the long haul. And it's funny actually. So my husband, his office is in the next room, and he's a software architect. That's what he
Nice.
does. So, uh, yeah, that's probably something else on my back burner in my head. Going, you should probably write something, and I'm like, no, stop, stop. My husband would want to do this with me, probably very much. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Uh, but for somebody who's out there maybe thinking about starting specifically a landscape related business, is
Yeah.
there a piece of advice that you would give them?
Yeah, it is stereotypically people get into this business because they love to do the work, and you touched on it, and not because they may necessarily love running a business, payroll, insurance, marketing. I'm not getting lead,
Ugh.
all of that stuff. So what I would say, if I had advice, it is don't drown out or dilute that passion that you love to do the work and you love to make beautiful things and beautiful outdoor living spaces. But just from day one, have in your mindset that you're not a doer of the work. You are a builder of systems and processes that do the work. And whether you're the one that's executing that system and process or whether it's your new employee, doesn't matter. That you can
Mm-hmm.
build a system and process even though you are the one still doing the system and process. You need to have a systems and process mindset in business, or if you don't and you just kind of ignore it or blah 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 blah, you will essentially come to a day when you feel like you are a slave to the business,
Yeah.
instead of the business blessing you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's because you're the only one that can do anything.
Right.
And businesses are like babies. They need fed and problem solved and it's like and at the end of the day the buck stops with you and like oh something about the sales tax. Yeah, you know what? You're gonna have to do that or find someone to do it, you know?
Right.
So the more if you go into business with a systems and processes mindset, you will grow exponentially faster with a better, I would say, fulfillment and satisfaction in your business than
Mm-hmm.
you will if you just view yourself as I love to lay pavers or I love to build outdoor living spaces, and so I do that. And I say that don't call yourself exempt from what I just said if you're a one, two, three person company. It doesn't matter.
Oh
What I
yeah.
said is a principle that applies even if you're a one person company and intend to stay that way. Um, Now, does it change or become less significant if you're a one to three person company? Sure. But I think the other thing that I would say is a lot of people, and this is so unfortunate and sad, but a lot of owners go into it with so passionately and they want the business to make it so much that so they pour every dollar back into the business. They don't pay themselves. And what I want anybody listening and thinking about starting a business is to remember you and your business are two separate entities and you both need paid. You
Right.
both need to make money. Like from day one, have a separate business account and a separate checking account, personal checking account.
Yeah.
Never mix the two. And just make the business pay you a salary just like any other employee and
Mm-hmm.
pay yourself a market rate salary. Now, um, will you take your salary and dump it back into the business? Hey, that's up to you. It's your money. You do with it what you want. But the idea is if you want to stay as an owner operator where you are active in the business and you need to continue showing up every day for the business to run, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that model. It's just that my advice is that business needs to crank cash into so more than just rent and groceries salary for you as the owner.
Right.
It needs to pay you a comfortable living wage and then some so that you can store up assets or whatever it is that you want to do with that money. Because the day you stop working, your cash flow stops. So you essentially are owning a job, said harshly.
Right.
And there's kind of two paths. I will either own a job and make it profitable so that when I'm done owning my job, I'm good financially,
Hmm.
or I will build a business with to the degree with systems and processes built to the degree that I don't need to show up every day. That it can literally run without me.
Right.
And that is a sellable asset. So that could be your asset, right?
Hmm.
So anyway, the idea is just don't allow yourself, you have to view yourself and your business as two separate entities, and don't, the business cannot get you for free. And if it does, which unfortunately it does so much of the time in this industry, and if it does, just remember, it's not just you that is falling on the sword, so to speak. It's also your family or your loved ones and your team
Hmm.
members around you. Because when you aren't thriving, they can't.
Yeah.
And in my story at Tussie, when I was hungry for growth, I went out to look for Aquascape, and then I came back and helped grow the business I was at. If I'd have been working for one of those owners that just had no vision or aptitude for growth or letting someone grow the business and do things
Hmm.
that they weren't doing, I would have left.
Yep.
And so if you want good people, well, you kind of need to have, a room for those people to grow into.
Yep. That's a really good way to put it. I don't know how many of us are out there who are, I mean, myself, I'm a solopreneur, right?
Mhm.
But even early on, entrepreneurs and they're starting a business, it's really hard to see yourself separate because
It
you
is.
are living and dreaming your business. Like that passion, it can completely consume you. And sometimes you need to set those office hours. It is 9 to 5. Sometimes you need to recognize that I'm not very good at business finances. It didn't take me very long to figure that out. That's I knew that coming in. It's like I'm a landscape designer. I'm an arts and crafts person. I'm a people person, not a paper person. That's
Yeah.
not true either, because actually I love stationery. But you know what I mean,
Yes.
right? And I do love a good spreadsheet as long as it's color coded. But like it really just takes over everything.
Yeah.
And that is I think a really good piece of advice to it's something good to drive home because we already know that the business should get paid and you should get paid. But I know I need a reminder, and there's probably a few other people tuning in who also need a reminder, right? So it's the start of 2025. Let's do it this year for real this time.
And it starts with designing your business. Like if you're just going to react to everything that comes at you in life, this will never happen.
Yeah.
And I just want to say I'm not throwing shade at solopreneuring or anything. Like, that's
Oh yeah,
perfectly fine.
no.
Just recognize that just as a solopreneur, if you're covering your rent and groceries and you can go on a vacation or so, once or once a year, that's fine. It's just that you're not setting yourself up for the future at all.
Right.
And you need to do it's just a reminder to do so.
Yeah. And I'm personally a big fan of systems and processes. Where I struggle is coming up with or discovering new processes. Because once I get my claws into a new system or a new process, like I'm in,
Yeah.
right? And then I'll just eat it up. But at the beginning, it can be really hard to get out of that comfort zone,
Yes.
even if things aren't working.
It's so easy to go to the urgent, like owner operators, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs. It's so easy to be addicted to the urgent chaos and never make time for the important.
Yeah.
Meaning we're always reacting, never designing. And when I say
Mm-hmm.
designing, it's like, oh, I know I need to make more than rents and groceries of an income. So what am I going to do about it? Try harder? Well, try harder is not really a strategy.
No.
So it comes down to, like, in the landscape contractor perspective, it's like build a budget, figure out what you need to charge, put in a line item in your overhead expenses for your own salary at a market rate, and then you can go invest that, do whatever you want to do with the disposable income you may produce from that. But it's like
Mm-hmm.
if you wish you could buy a certain piece of equipment, or if you wish you could buy a new truck to replace your old one, that starts with building a budget, put it in. What do I need to charge to cover that expense, and then go sell the work at that rate. It's
Right.
what the point I'm trying to make is it starts with planning and designing the life and business that you want. Because if you're stuck in the reactionary, addicted to chaos method, you'll never get there.
Right. And like some addictions, that's kind of the difference. And it's something that you mentioned on the questionnaire is the difference between a business and a hobby, right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
isn't a hobby. This is a business.
That's right.
So it's not something that you just putter in the shed for a couple hours every day just to get by, or your
That's
studio or whatever. If you want it to build and you want it to grow, it's just like a kid and it needs that feeding and it needs that,
And a real life example of how contractors, often, solopreneurs, owner operators, fall victim to this is they'll get caught in the vicious cycle of, oh, let me sit down and build a budget. Okay, cool. Let me put in the new truck that I wish I would have. Let me put in the market rate salary for myself as an owner. I do all that stuff, and then I get to the end, and I'm like, well, I can never sell for that rate. And if that were true, Lamborghini would never sell a car.
right.
So maybe you're trying to sell to the wrong people.
Yep.
And then the other thing is um, they submit a proposal and the homeowner proverbially says, "Oh, the your competition was $5,000 less. Can you match their bid?" And the thing is like, no, I can't. I can help you adjust the scope of this work. And the thing is like the easy. I literally just had this conversation with a contractor last week. It's like I built a budget. I'm selling work priced at it, but I can't close the work. So I cut the hours in the bid so that the price comes down so I can sell the work. Then I go over hours and I don't have the money I need to pay my it's just a vicious cycle. And my
Yeah.
challenge is you have to snap out of that and look at it in reality. Like you can't arguing with a mathematical equation in the example I'm giving you is illogical. It won't work. You're doomed.
Yep.
So it comes down, well, where should I focus on? Complaining that my competition is undercutting me? Or should I focus on how can I become a better salesperson and targeting the right market?
Yep.
And it's a no-brainer when you put it that way. But for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason, the whole thing we were saying about what's familiar and comfortable, for whatever reason, we don't want to change the way we're doing. We want to blame the competition.
Nope.
And one little hack I'll give you, if you do have a homeowner that gives you that response of, hey, your competition was cheaper, can you match their price, or why are you so expensive? And my favorite response to that is like, interesting. I'm just curious, why haven't you hired him yet?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a reason. There's
Yep.
usually a reason. And the homeowner knows it, or maybe they're just calling your bluff. But
Mm-hmm.
sales is a matter of transferring trust. It's not a matter of price.
Nope. And that's something I know Beth Edney has really driven that home through LO. She does a number of talks about one of them is that it's okay to fire a client, right?
Mhm.
And the other thing is charge accordingly. We have this I think a lot of people have a hang up, and I used to, maybe I still do, but I'm getting much better, where we associate self-worth with
Yes.
the amount that's in our bank account or the amount that we're charging. And then you top off and you drizzle on a little bit of imposter syndrome, and all of a sudden you're like, I can't charge that because what I offer isn't worth that. Well, says who?
Yeah.
Get over yourself.
Maybe you would never pay $200,000 for that backyard, but who are you to say that your client won't?
Yeah. And the price is the price, right? And that is one thing that I do appreciate about money, because I can get very emotional. I'm a feeler, I'm an empath, right? So I can go down a dark rabbit hole real fast. But with the price, I like that I'm comfortable and I'm confident in my numbers. So when I'm proposing a price or a cost, that's the price, right? It's the profit first. I know what I need to make on this job. So I'm not going to bring the price down because I already know what I need to make on the job.
That's right.
It,
That's
it,
right.
it's not something that is flexible.
And the best antidote I've ever seen to that emotional battle of, oh, should I give him a deal, blah, blah, blah. The best antidote I've ever seen to that is know to the penny what your break even is on that estimate, on that
Right.
job. Because if you know your break even, that will automatically give you the steely confidence to just stop having that debate. Stop it. Like,
Yes.
you know, and if and what happens if you don't know that break even, yeah, your direct cost 10,000, you gave the customer a price of 20,000. You're like, yeah, sure, I can do it for 16. Well, your break even was 15.5
Yep.
or it was 16 or whatever. So I don't know about you, but I would rather go fishing or something if I'm gonna pay. I like my
Yeah.
hobbies to be something that I like go do when I don't have to do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
not the work and the sweat of putting in the beautiful outdoor living
And
space
realizing that you paid the client $500. It's like,
to do
oh,
for the privilege of doing the job.
yeah. You're welcome. Merry Christmas to you.
But hey, you beat your competition. You beat your competition.
Hey, yeah, you'll get a 5-star Google review. I was
Uh,
really impressed with their pricing. Oh gosh. Ah,
yeah.
womp womp. So, with that, I'm just going to wrap up with a final question for you because I always like to know what are in people's libraries. You mentioned a book called Buy Back Your Time.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with this one. Can you give us a little lowdown on?
Yeah, Dan Martell, he's a Canadian.
Okay.
He wrote the book Buy Back Your Time. He actually built and sold several software companies, and now he runs a software company founder peer group called SaaS Academy, which I'm actually a part of. That's how I got to be
Oh,
in
so
Dan.
that's what that is, the SASS, right? SaaS Academy.
Yeah, which stands for Software as a Service. But anyway, that Buy
You're
Back
not
Your
all
Time.
just sassy. You don't all just sit around a table and like sass each other.
No.
Okay, that's good. I mean,
But
sounds interesting, but
that Buy Back Your Time book is a fantastic read in the context of discussion that we were having because it talks about, systems and processes, the things that sabotage our growth,
hmm,
uh, designing your business or your life instead of just reacting to it all the time. Like it's a really good read. The Buy Back Your Time book, I think every contractor, business owner, entrepreneur should read, as well as if you've never read it, E-Myth. E-Myth and Buy
E-Myth.
Back Your Time are a fantastic pair.
Okay, E-Myth. Well, I'm adding them both to my book list as soon as we sign off here because I have a little bit of I was going to say hoarding. It's not hoarding, it's collecting books problem.
Which means you collect them, then don't read them.
No, I do read them. So I do that. I do
Good,
that.
good.
So
Because I'm more
anyway,
guilty of like, getting books and like, oh, I need to read that one yet. Yeah.
yeah, well, I have one shelf of books that I will never get rid of because they've completely changed my life. And then I have another shelf that I'm slowly working through.
Okay.
So I'm not as fast of a reader as not a fast I'm a fast reader, but I need to prioritize the time to
Yeah.
read, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, Weston, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I wish you all the best for you and your business going forward. Your website is synkedup.com, right? So SynkedUP.com. And we will put the links and whatnot all in the description. But I wish you all the best, and I'm sure I'll see you around.
Thank you, Heather. I'll shoot you that link and thanks for having me on. This was a great conversation.
Absolutely. We should do it again.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do it.
Okay, cheers.
See ya.
That concludes this week's episode, hosted by me, Heather Gerard at My Landscape Artist. Now, before you go, here's some info about our sponsor, ext.tech. In today's fast-paced world, your landscaping business needs modern solutions to keep up with the change. That's where EXT comes in. EXT is revolutionizing the way you manage projects and streamlines your landscaping, snow removal, and construction operations. Instead of juggling 5 different software packages, endless spreadsheets, losing track of leads, and missing out on potential sales, you could be leveraging AI job routing, client management, and financial insights with a modern mobile app that employees love to use. With EXT's flat rate pricing, you'll never be caught off guard. If you're ready to revolutionize and grow your landscaping business, visit ext.tech today to learn more. And for additional savings, use the code HOPS10 at checkout, or just tell them that Heather sent you. See you next week for another episode of Hops and Hedges.